Welcome back to the Immigration Answers Show. It's your boy, Jim Hacking. Hope you all are doing well. Hooli just dropped into the comments. She's ready to go. We are on Immigration Answers Show, episode number 212. She didn't think I was going to start so early. I am in the back of my Cadillac Escalade. You can call me the Escalade immigration lawyer as opposed to the Lincoln lawyer. I am in Harrison, Arkansas, which is about a half hour south of Branson, Missouri. So I've been down in Branson since yesterday. I came down for Noor's softball tournament. She has a game starting at 2 o'clock Central. So I thought that I would start the show a little bit early so that I can make it over to the field on time. Hope you all are doing well. I'm happy to be here with you. If you're watching, please let us know where you're watching from. And that's true whether you're watching on the recording or in the live stream. But go ahead and drop us a comment. If you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook, leave us a comment. I see a lot of our usual friends and some new faces as well. Glad you all are here. Hope you all are enjoying this lovely weather. At least where I'm at, it's absolutely perfect. It's about 78 degrees, no humidity. I'm in the back of my car, and it reminds me of a show that I just finished watching called The Lincoln Lawyer. The Lincoln Lawyer. So this is a series of novels by a guy named Michael Connelly, who's one of my favorite authors. He's written about 20 books about a police detective named Harry Bosch, and he's written 5 or 6 books about a lawyer named Mickey Holler who operates out of the back of his Lincoln town car. So he is the Lincoln lawyer because he's in Los Angeles and he's a criminal defense lawyer, and he spends all of his time driving from court to court all throughout Southern California. So I've always thought it would be fun for me to have a driver for my Cadillac, and I always thought it would be fun for that driver to have a shotgun. I don't know why, but in my mind, it would always be fun to be a lawyer practicing law out of my car. I have gone to interviews out of town and had a driver drive me to that interview so that I can sit in the back here and get some work done. Of course, it's a fictional show, but I really enjoy Michael Connelly's writing. I've read almost all of his books. He has 3 really good series of books. They're all about Southern California, which also makes it fun. We're going to go ahead and start taking some comments down below. Hooli has dropped the link on where you have to click in order to come into the waiting room. Let's make this the best show possible. Try to be really concise with your question. Give us a little bit of background. Get to the question so that I can answer as many questions as I can over the next 60 minutes. I was very saddened to learn overnight that yet one more time, a truckload of dead migrants has been found. So people were trying to enter the United States illegally. They had they were in a truck, and apparently the truck driver got scared and ran away and left all these people to die. It's a horrible, horrible situation. It's one byproduct and one consequence of our harsh immigration laws, our refusal to enact meaningful immigration reform, our stupidity in not allowing more immigrants to come to help work in the United States, to make it easier to come and go across the border. We have such a small, narrow-minded approach to the immigration problem. It's such a sad state of affairs, and of course, we're heartbroken for the families that passed away in that truck. It's just horrible. And the sad thing is, this happens probably 4 or 5 times a year. It's terrible. It's terrible. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. Looks like we have a almost full house in the waiting room. So if you want to get in and ask me a question, go ahead and drop in there now. We'll go for a full hour, and then I'm going to watch Noor play softball. Looks like La Holy Queen is here. What's up, La Holy Queen? I can't hear you. Holy, can you hear her? I can't hear her. No. Yeah, I don't know if you're on mute or your mic's not working. I'll come back to you. Let's see if Luis is here. Luis, are you here with us?
Hello? Yes,
Hi,
I'm
Luis.
here.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me on the show.
Sure.
I came to the country uh, by my parents. I was brought here when I was like 4 or 5. I entered illegally to the
Hmm.
country. I was currently under DACA, and last year my father passed away, so I had to leave the country to attend his funeral. I did get a travel permit to come and go and come back legally. I filed the petition for the I-130, and I got that approved last year, but I haven't had any uh, response in regards to my uh,
485.
485. Yes, I did get an RFE, so I was wondering, is that going to take any long? My lawyer did respond, but I don't know
So
if I'm waiting.
when did you file the 485?
November last year.
And did you say you have an approved I-130 or an I-140?
I-130.
Okay. And so what did they ask for in the request for evidence?
I did not have enough evidence for the affidavit of support, and I had to declare 2021 tax return. That's all I had to disclose because I only
So,
had
so did you add a co-sponsor?
no, no. It's because I hadn't filed 2021's tax returns at the
And
moment.
how much did your spouse make? How much did your spouse make on their 21 tax returns?
27, like 27.
That's really, really close. I would have totally advised you to get a co-sponsor.
Well, we currently file them jointly, and well, my income is higher than hers.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You could be a millionaire. It doesn't matter. It's all about her
Okay.
income.
So do you think I'll get rejected or
I hope not. They might send you a notice of intent to deny. They might send you another request for evidence, but when you get a request for evidence about financials, they usually don't tell you what the actual problem is. So,
okay, well my attorney said it was that we hadn't submitted the 2020 the 3 years. It was only 2 years.
yeah, but did the attorney also figure out whether or not your spouse made enough money, because it doesn't sound like they did.
What's the limit that a
Like
person has to
27,
make to
it's like 27.5.
okay, so if she
They
made
shoot
less
for
than
both.
27.5.
You never want to be that close, though. You want to be like 5 over or 10 over. If it's anything close, we just say go get a co-sponsor.
Okay, so my advice right now is to wait to see if I can get a coast on the
I
side
think
for
I
when
don't think
they
I wouldn't wait for anything. I would go find a co-sponsor. I would prepare the affidavit of support for the co-sponsor, and I would send it in while your case is still pending. You don't want to mess around with a notice of intent to deny. You don't want to mess around with a rejection or a refuse denial. You want to your case is still alive. I would keep fighting, and I would get I would get a co-sponsor.
Oh, okay, sounds good. Also, one last question before. I renewed my DACA and I haven't received any response, and it expired last month. I renewed it back in November when I filed the 485.
Yeah, you're fine.
Do you know how long
They're
that's going to
just
take?
they're just slow. No, they're just slow and lazy. You're fine.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you
You got
very much for having me on the show.
yeah, you're on a good path, Luis. I'm glad you. I mean, I'm sorry about your dad. My dad died last year too, so I know how hard that is. But I'm glad you were able to
Yes.
get advanced parole and get admitted into the United States. That's a huge, huge deal. It's going to save you so much time and headache from having to get that waiver. So good job.
Yeah. I was planning on visiting before he passed away. It's just immigration is so slow, and I hadn't gotten an advanced parole approved since 2020 when they had announced that they were doing advanced parole again. So
Right.
I was basically waiting on that. But then my father passed away from cancer. And,
Oh, I'm
his
sorry,
last
man.
wishes was to go back to his home country. So I had to leave. And that was my re-entry permit legally into the state.
Well, he gave you quite a gift in his death.
Yes, he did.
All right, Luis. Good luck, buddy. Let us know how it
All
turns
right.
out. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
See you, my friend.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Let's say hi to La Jolla. Let's see if she got her Audio, is your audio working? Nope. You might want to call in with a different device, maybe call in with your phone or something. Whatever device you're using, your audio is jacked up. So we'll try to find you back in the comments in a little bit. All right. Let's say hi to Chai Yong. Hi, Chai Yong.
Hi, Jim. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How
Uh,
you doing?
yeah, so I have question on my case. So I filed a I-130 for my wife in 2021 on March, and then we have a newborn baby later that. So it is on the California Service Center, and I know that it takes like 24.5 months on the latest timeline, but it is very long way, and it's hard for us to the to the family. So I try to request expedite request based on the medical reason, like because of this separation with long wait. We have medical reason, having anxiety and desperate, but it just get reject. And we also try to find help through the Congress office, Senate is also not successful. And we recently tried ombudsman, but we haven't heard back yet. So just want to ask, is there any other way we can expedite the process, or we have only need to be wait because it's hard to be separate in two country, and I need to travel back and forth, and also try very hard to keep my green card status 6 months requirement alive.
So does the child or your spouse, do they have any health conditions other than the fact that there's this new baby? Is there anything medically
Uh,
diagnosable from a doctor?
yeah, so she was diagnosed with having depression. So do I.
Mhm.
And when I go to the Senate office to ask to help for request the expedite, I do provide um the letter from the doctors, but it still not successful.
So the first thing I want to say is I'm sure you're depressed. I'm sure your wife is depressed. I know this is a
Hmm.
very upsetting situation, that the idea that it's just going to take 24 months for the very first part of this whole process. That's very
Hmm.
upsetting, and I feel for you there. I
Hmm.
don't think your efforts to expedite it are going to work, though. I don't think they're going to expedite your case. Everybody, there's people on this show every day who are going through the exact same thing that you're going
Hmm.
through. Um, Even U.S. citizens are going through it, and they don't expedite those cases. So I think the chances of USCIS expediting your I-130 are very, very low, as evidenced by the fact that no one's been able to get them to expedite it. I think you're simply waiting. As far as maintaining your green card, if you want to go stay with your spouse more than you have been, you could ask for a reentry permit, and that would allow
Hmm.
you to be out of the United States for up to 2 years while the case is pending. There's issues with that too, but I don't think they're going to expedite your case.
Okay, but for the reentry permit, I do explore that option, but it need to be the processing time need to be 12 months
Right,
as well.
right.
So before my case get approved, do I still need to maintain the 6 months period? Or yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
So right. How long have you been in America right now?
For
On
this year,
this recent trip, like when did you last enter the United States?
2 months back, but last time when I enter, I already got a warning. So and then I stayed for a month, and then I left for another 2 months uh, this year.
Yeah. So what I would do is, while you're here, I would apply for the reentry permit, get fingerprinted, and then make sure somebody checks your mail. They can send you the reentry permit overseas. I still wouldn't be out of the United States for more than 6 months Why did you get a warning? Were you gone for more than 6 months, or was it because you've been spending some?
Yeah,
Don't spend more than 6 months out.
Okay.
No matter what.
But like less than 6 months is okay, right? Or I need to be
less than 6
maintained.
months. Okay. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, Chae-Young. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Yep. See ya. All right. We're moving things along. Next up is Arif or Arif.
Hey, Jim. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I got 3 parts question. Let me take a little minute to explain. I'm from India with EB2 approved I-140 with a priority date of 2012. And then back in July 2021, I applied for a new EB3 I-140 with 485 in the whole packet. And
Why?
I got an RFE, but because I was not able to verify certain employment back from India because the company was out of business. And then while I was in the time being to submit the RFE, my lawyer suggested that we withdraw the IFE because the EB2 became current. And then we withdrew the RFE, we withdraw the I-140 for EB3. And then right after, before we withdraw, we applied for EB2 485 and then 131 and everything. And then after we got the receipts and everything, my lawyer put in a request to withdraw the EB3 I-140. And then in March 2022, I got a confirmation that my EB3 I-140 has been withdrawn. And then 2 weeks ago, I got my combo card for EB2 application. And then my EB2 485 is still pending, which I applied in December 1. And on December 7th, the EB2 485 got transferred from National Benefit Centers to Nebraska. And then in March, I got fingerprinted. And since then, there has been no activity. So that's one situation. I got EB2 485 sitting in Nebraska. Nothing has been done since the fingerprinting in March 2022.
So you got your combo card. You got your combo card. So it's not nothing happened.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The combo card came from NBC, and then my 485 is at Nebraska Service Center. So I have heard recently that the pending EB3 related 485 is preventing my adjudication for EB2 485. But my EB3 is already withdrawn. What's going to happen to my EB3 485? Or is there anything else can I do to speed up?
No, you're just waiting. Okay. Your green card case has only been on file since December, so that's 6 months. So you've probably got another 6 or 8 months left.
So that EB3 that I filed back in July and I withdrew it, that EB3 485 is going to get wasted and I don't have to worry about it anymore? Or do I need to withdraw that as well?
No, you don't need to withdraw that.
Okay, and then that's not slowing down my adjudication of EB2 related 485.
That's a different question. It could be. We'll never know. We'll never know. They're never going to tell us, we slowed down the EB2. But it sounds to me like your EBT is moving right along. So EB2 is moving right along. So I think you're fine.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jim Hackin, and appreciate your response, sir.
Good job, Arif. See you, buddy.
Yep, thank you.
Arif's got it going on. He's going to get his green card here pretty soon. And that's pretty darn good, seeing he's been waiting for damn 10 years. What the heck? We're happy for Arif. He's got a good lawyer. He's doing good stuff. He's moving all the right pieces around. By the way, just for those of you who don't know, USCIS has asked that people don't keep filing a bunch of different EB2s and 3 petitions. They understand why you're doing it, but they're asking you not to do it. And at the very least, if you do it, you're going to want to let them know which one you want to proceed on. So in my lawsuits, you wouldn't believe some of these lawsuits we file where people have filed literally 3 or 4 employment-based I-140s and 485s. Don't do that. You overwhelm them with confusion. And I'm a big proponent of filing for whatever benefit you might be entitled. I'm a big proponent of that, but you can really overwhelm them with all these employment-based green card applications. All right, now, Huli made me a nice scroll for the bottom. because we are raising our fees. What day is today? Today's Tuesday. Yeah, 1 week from today, we're raising our fees. So on July 5th, all of our fees are going up. So most fees are going up $1,000. Some fees are going up $500. I never apologize for raising our fees. We do really good work. And quite frankly, we're probably going to raise them again, maybe towards the end of the year. I was a little slow to raise our fees. We haven't raised our fees in like 2.5 years. And what we're finding is that with these long delays of cases, we're really having to carry long caseloads, large caseloads, because these cases are dormant for a long time. But it takes a lot of human power, a lot of woman power, a lot of manpower to keep the cases going, even if nothing's happening. So we haven't, with inflation, everybody's often asking us for raises, and we're happy to give raises to our awesome team members, but we've got to raise our fees. So if you're on the fence about hiring us for something like a lawsuit or a spouse petition, everything's going up. So on this Friday after work, Kelsey, my programmer, and I, we're going to set up all the billing and the automation that we have around our fees. And most fees, so like things that were $5,000 are going to be $6,000 or $6,500. Some things that have gotten more complex, we're charging more money for. So USCIS is about to raise their fees, but so is the hacking immigration law firm. So if you're thinking about hiring us, I'm not going to mention this every day. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm certainly not going to apologize for it. But I do want those of you who know that you're thinking about hiring us, you might want to do it this week. All right. Let's say hi to Zertak. What's up, Zertak?
Hi, Mr. Jim. Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. By the way,
I saw you waving, so I had to call you next.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Actually, and let me just turn off my camera because my case is really interesting. So,
Okay.
by the way, I'm married for a same-sex marriage. Way back, 2015, my first marriage is 2015, and then it didn't went well, and I just got married also 2021 for my second marriage. So I get already a work permit approved and my parole, and I just having my interview for I-45 2 weeks ago, and my first marriage, it didn't went well. It's actually my husband withdrew the case, and one of the reason also I left because I found out that he had a sexual abuse. He is a sexual abuse offender. So
Okay, so let's back up.
sure.
When you married spouse number one,
Mm-hmm.
what was your immigration status when you got married?
So I got entered here for H-2B visa.
Okay.
By May, and then by November 2015, I got married with him. And the one of the red flags actually is the age gap, but it's very common nowadays, especially for the same-sex marriage. I mean,
Okay.
we
So
are
wait,
really
for sure, we've had lots of this. Okay, so I just want to let me ask some questions real quick, and then we'll talk it all through. Okay.
Sure.
So we're gonna call the first person that you married. We're gonna call them John. Okay, just to make life easier.
Sure.
So you're in the United States on an H-2B. You married John, and John filed an I-130, a 485, and all that stuff for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, did you have an interview on that application?
No.
Okay. How long after that I-130 and 485 were filed did John withdraw the I-130?
So basically, I stayed with him. I lived with him like 8 months, I guess, 8 months, and then the relationship is really really bad. So I left the house and I found out that he had a sexual abuse, and then after that he withdrawn the case because I left already.
Hold on a second.
Sure.
So, did you find out about the sexual abuse claim from USCIS sending him a request for evidence for an Adam Walsh Act problem, or did you find out some other way?
I found out because it's in the news on the TV, and then
You mean it happened while you were married?
It was already happened like 2002. Yeah, 2002. So during our relationship.
So you're married to John. You have a pending I-130 with John, and then while that's pending, you find out that he has a sexual abuse claim. You move out, and then he
I move
withdraws the
out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So fast forward. So obviously you've been here out of status for a really long time, right?
Yeah, true. After the yeah.
Okay. So then then you marry, we'll call the second person you married Bill. So then you marry Bill, and Bill files all the same stuff for you, and you had your interview on that case with Bill 2 weeks ago.
True. Yeah.
All right. And which field office had your interview?
In Federal Plaza in New York.
And did they separate you at that interview?
No, it was just so surprising because we prepared for my recent relationship, which is my second marriage, and then the questions that the officer asked me is all about the first marriage. It was surprising. The first question that he asked me, so you married this guy, which is a long gap. That's the one. The first question.
What he said, you married this guy, what?
He asked me like, so you married a 59-year-old guy and you're 24 that time.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't care about the age gap. So did the officer say anything about John's sexual abuse charge?
So I tell the story about he doesn't know that he had a sexual abuse. So he asked me what's the reason of the divorce thing or the relationship has been ended. Then I said I found out that he has a sexual abuse, and then he do something that I'm not safe anymore in the house. So I literally just left the house. So yeah, and then he took. He. Sorry.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
The officer, he looked in the internet, and then he found out that he said, "Oh yeah, he has this. This is very interesting." He said, "This is very interesting." So I found, yeah, it's true that he is in the sexual abuse offense. Yeah, like that. And
did your new spouse already know about that before the interview?
About my first first marriage, yeah, during the interview.
He knew about the sexual abuse charge and all that stuff.
Yeah, but he doesn't know all story because it's really traumatizing for me for always like it's really like unhealthy for me.
So let me ask you this question. Can I ask you this question?
Sure, sir.
Well, big question whenever there's a prior marriage is do we think that John, when he withdrew your case, said bad things about you in the withdrawal?
That's the one that I'm not really confident, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he does do a letter before the withdrawal happened, because every time when we fought, like he always doing something story about me and doing things, and then I think he sent it to the USCIS about saying bad things about me.
This probably doesn't really matter. This doesn't matter to me, but it might matter to USCIS. This is a really stupid, crazy question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
The sexual abuse charge that John had, was it a same-sex sexual abuse charge?
Yes, sir. Actually, he's a priest before, and that's the reason he got kicked out of the priest, because he does something in altar boys, or I'm not sure about that.
Right. Got it. Okay. All right. Now, my other big question is, that was back in 2002, right?
Yeah.
And here we are in 2022.
Yes, sir.
Now, this question I don't want you to answer on the show, okay? But I want you to think about what I'm asking, okay? Don't answer this.
Yeah.
If I'm a USCIS officer and I have somebody sitting in front of me who's been in the United States for 20 years, living their life, I want to know how they support themselves, and I want to know whether they ever claimed on a job application that they were a U.S. citizen. So I don't know if the officer got into that with you or not, but that's one thing that they sometimes investigate. Like they might ask about your work records, or they might try to go see if they could find any old job applications that you filed. I mean, 20 years is a really long time. And so one way they mess with people is by trying to figure out if they ever claimed they were a U.S. citizen. So that's one other thing to think about. But those are the issues that I'm spotting. I mean, to me, if I'm an immigration officer and I got a letter from John saying that you're a bad guy, I would take that with a huge grain of salt, given the fact that he's a convicted sex offender, right? So
That's true. Yeah, and
now,
I'm a victim too of our during our relationship. So I don't have any evidence about that, and it's really really stressful. I've
yeah,
been like
sure.
depressed,
I'm sure.
and
I'm
yeah.
sure. I'm
So
sorry, and I'm sure. And now, the okay, go ahead. You go ahead.
yeah, so the officer actually during it lasts I think it's an hour interview during our first interview for the IO 485, and then he can't decide if he approve or give up a stock interview, but it's been a 2 weeks now, so it's still pending. So now I'm looking forward or whatever it is happen. So at least I'm ready for what questions and answers that are going to be happen again for the second interview or whatever it is. But hopefully it's not, or they gonna approve us. So
The
I'm not
second
sure if
interview, how much time did he spend talking about your current relationship?
we're dating since 2018, since I got separated with my first husband. So we just got married last year, 2021, and I just got divorced 2019.
Right, but how much time did the officer spend talking about this?
About the 40 minutes or 50 minutes or even an hour, I guess. Yeah, as far as I remember.
So most of it was about the old
My first
relationship.
marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much time did they spend on the second one? That's what I want to know.
Second one, I think just only like 10 minutes. She
Yeah.
just
So,
asking about the co-sponsors and yeah, the address of my co-sponsors and everything. I think we got two red flags as far as I know. The age gap of my first marriage, and the second one is like the officer asked about regarding about the co-sponsor, like the address, but I'm the one who filed everything. So my husband forgot something like the address, and he corrected right away though. Yeah,
who's the co-sponsor?
it's actually my cousin's husband. Yeah,
Whose husband?
it's my cousin's husband. It's a
Cousin's
same
husband.
sex
Okay.
yeah,
All
but
right.
he
So,
knows them.
couple things. Number one, I do think you're going to have a second interview, because I think what happened was, here the officer came in. She thought she was going to ask a few questions about marriage number one, and then you told her this whole big story, which is
Yeah.
important. But
Yeah.
sometimes when that happens, it sort of throws the officer off, and they don't ever get around to looking at number two. Did they ask you the 45 questions, like have you ever been a drug dealer, a smuggler, or any of that stuff?
Yeah, he asked me about those things, like have you convicted anything from
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Yeah, and then he let me sign something in the like automated something there. Yeah.
And how about how much marriage evidence, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if one's very little that you submitted and brought to the interview versus 10, which is I brought a ton and I filed with a ton, what would you say? Where would you
Evidence.
say on a scale of 1 to 10?
You mean my second marriage, right?
Yeah, for the second marriage.
Oh, we had a lot of tons of evidence. I mean, during the pictures, we have bank accounts, joint accounts, and then like work letter authorization.
Yeah.
The he just asked also one thing, because we had a joint account at the same time. We have also like second account, which is individual account, and he asked like why you have second account. Like he asked my husband, and then he said because of his inheritance of his parents, because both parents already passed away. So, and he asked also about our relationship, why it's still like private. I mean, the family doesn't know. I mean, my husband, what I mean is my husband, grandparents like that. He's kind of old school actually. So
Yeah.
he doesn't
Well,
like, and the officer doesn't really understand a little bit about same-sex marriage things.
I think it's an interesting case. I think that you'll probably get a second interview and you'll probably get separated, and at that point your spouse really has to be on top of things, because it'll all be about that spouse, okay?
So it's gonna be the second marriage. They're gonna focus on the second marriage now. For if we're having
Yeah.
a stock interview.
I think you'll have a Stokes interview probably in about 6 months.
Okay.
the other thing I want to say for everybody listening, but also for you, and obviously, I am not in any way saying anything is your fault, but when you come to immigration on a second interview, and there's evidence that the first spouse was a bum or a criminal or a sex offender or whatever, even though you're the victim, that still puts some blame on you. Not saying that's fair. I'm just saying that in their mind, they ask themselves, well, this is, so then they say about you, well, this is the kind of person that hangs out with criminals, right? I know it's not your fault, but I'm just saying that's sort of their mentality. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you had called me and said, Jim, my interview is in 2 weeks, I would have almost insisted that you bring a lawyer to your interview, right? And that you don't do this by yourself. But if you get a second interview notice, I really think you need to bring a lawyer, and that lawyer needs to practice with your husband to scare the crap out of him and interview him without you sitting there. I mean, you can sit there and listen, but you need to get him ready for being on the hot seat in that Stokes interview by himself, because that's what's coming. But they're going to wait 6 or 8 months because they want to see if marriage number 2 falls apart. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, I see. I understand. So now, are they gonna dig in my first marriage? Like they're gonna visit my ex-husband and saying things like I live there. So what do you think about that? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, one other thing that you might think about, especially since this case is probably going to take a while, is I would do a Freedom of Information Act request for your file to see if you can get a copy of what he said when he withdrew the I-130. Technically, you're not supposed to get it, but half the time they send it by accident. So I would definitely do a FOIA request for your entire immigration file.
Yeah, because it was really surprising when I sit in already with the officer and like a bunch of like my old stuff over there, records, and then he asked me like so you know that your case in the first marriage is already denying, right? Like you got this mail, and then I said no, I haven't, because I already left, so I don't have anything except for my clothes. So yeah.
So yeah, I did a video on this a couple weeks ago, which basically said the scenario that you're telling me, which is marriage number 2. Nobody doubts that marriage number 2 is legit, that you're in love, that you have a life together. But in order to cause trouble and to make it harder, they go back and look real hard at marriage number 1, even though, your case didn't go anywhere. You never testified. I mean, you filed sworn forms. It was a real marriage. It was just you didn't know that he was a pedophile.
Right.
I think overall you're going to be okay, but I also think I'd try to get a copy of that immigration file, and I would make sure to have a lawyer on standby for whenever you have interview number 2.
So what kind of, like, do you have any suggestion, like still immigration lawyer that I need to get during the Stoke interview? Or
yeah, I mean, we have a lawyer in DC who could come up for it. We have other lawyers. If not, I can find you somebody in New York, no problem. But yeah, I mean, I would say that if you want us to track down the file, and then you might not get another interview. So tracking down the file, that part's easy. You can actually even do that yourself. There's a form called a G639, and you can fill it out online and just request entire immigration file and see what happens. And then if the interview if you do get an interview notice, you should have 3 or 4 weeks notice, and we can get one of our attorneys up there or find you somebody else.
I see. So Jim, do I expect for like surprise visit or something about that?
Maybe. I don't think so though. I do think, again, your current husband is the star witness.
Right.
So they might come talk to him at the house. They might come talk to him because they think they could do that faster than an interview. I don't know. I think it's more likely that they're going to schedule you for a Stokes interview, because we've actually been receiving notices from Federal Plaza in New York, and they're the only ones I've ever seen that say Stokes interview in big bold letters. So I think that's sort of an office by office thing. Some offices use Stokes interviews more than others, and we know Manhattan loves to use it. So I think that's probably what's going to happen.
So, okay,
but
I see.
I would suggest that your husband watch this video of you and me talking now, and then then you talk about getting him ready for whenever this happens, or for them knocking on the door.
I see. I see. Okay, that's very helpful, Jim. So, so now I need to focus for my second. I mean, if we have the stock interview, so we need to study everything for for my second marriage.
And keep gathering more marital evidence. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I see. So I see, like a joint accounts and everything, right? And one thing also, the officer asked me about the social media, like if I posted something or he posted like on the spot, like can you show me something on the phone, like on the spot, something like that.
But it's a same-sex marriage, and his family, like you said, he's old school. So, I mean, to me, that's a very easy reason why. I mean, sometimes these guys, they act like they're dumb, that they don't know that it's harder to be in a same-sex relationship. They just act dumb to put you on the spot. So hopefully he's not that dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, my friend. Good luck. Great call. Thanks for calling. There were a lot of good questions. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna call your office in the future. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jim.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. Bye. All right. Let's say hi to Afshan. Hi, Afshan.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm really good. Thank you. So I filed a CR1 for my husband, and we received our I-130 approval notice last week on 22nd June. So,
Awesome.
and we also have our letter from the NVC, the case number and everything.
Great.
So we're, thank you. We're now preparing to submit our documents. So one question that I have was about the biographical page of the applicant. So Indian passport has a front page and a back page. The front page has the passport holder's name, date of birth, place of issue, date of expiry, and everything. And the back page has the father's name, mother's name, and the spouse name and the address. So what would you want us to submit? Like the photo page or the one? I mean, like, or both of them?
I do both. Yeah, I would do both.
Both. Okay. The reason I'm asking this because we have submitted our application for a police clearance certificate, and we haven't added my name in his passport yet.
Did you already? That's probably a little early. Those things are only good for 6 months. You might have to do that again.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, we're planning to. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you when you filed the I-130, just so I knew how long the processing time was.
Yeah, it was August last year, August 2021.
So 10 months.
Yeah, about 10 months, yes.
Okay, so biographic page, what other question did you have?
Well, that was all. Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Have a great day.
All right, let's say hi to Owen. Hi, Owen.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I need to ask a question.
Go for it.
I have an interview scheduled on Thursday, asylum interview.
Nice.
And unfortunately, on Saturday night, I had an argument with my brother, and I got arrested.
Uh-oh. Sorry, you locked up for a minute. Can you start over? You got an asylum interview on Thursday. That's all I heard.
Okay, I have an asylum interview on Thursday, right? And on Saturday night, 4 days ago, I got arrested for domestic abuse assault.
On your brother?
Yes.
Okay.
So I wanted to know, will this affect my interview and my will I be deported, something like that?
Well, it's going to make your asylum case a whole lot harder. It's unfortunate that happened. It's all going to depend on what happens with the case. Is your brother going to press charges? Are you going to get?
It's not.
Yeah. Would you feel comfortable telling me a little bit about the fight? Like, were you acting? I guess you don't have to do that necessarily, but were you acting badly? Like, do you feel bad about what happened?
Yeah, I do feel bad about what happened.
Did your brother, was he hurt very badly?
No, I didn't physically hurt him, no.
And you think the charges are going to get dropped?
Yes.
I think you just got to tell the officer. I think you'll be okay. No, you're not. I don't think you're going to get deported for it. If you're not convicted, there's nothing to deport you over. So So that part is okay. I think it makes you a little less sympathetic of an asylum seeker, though.
Okay.
That's the bad part.
Okay. So my question is, let's say the interview goes well, right, with my case.
Yeah.
Would they like delay my let's say my results should come, let's say it's planned, like if I was well prepared for the interview, I should
Like,
be getting
and they let's say you get interviewed on Thursday and they want to approve it, but then are they going to ask themselves, can I approve it when he's got a pending criminal case? And they're going to say to themselves, no, I can't. I got to wait and see what happens to the criminal case. So do you have a lawyer for that?
Unfortunately, I don't.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I would just tell the officer that and be honest about it, and tell them that you'll provide evidence related to, they're just going to sit on the case.
Okay.
Because they want to see what happens. And, sometimes what sucks is they don't ever charge you, but they don't ever tell you they're not going to charge you, right? So, like, in St. Louis County where I live, people get arrested, but then they never decide the case. They never dismiss the case. So at some point, you're probably going to want to get a lawyer involved to help you get that dismissed. Once they decide they're not going to move forward with, like, I would let things lay low, die down a little bit. And then if nothing's happened in 3 months, then I would find the best criminal lawyer I could find and have them try to get some kind of a clearance or some kind of a written acknowledgement that they're not going to prosecute you for this, so that you can send it to the asylum office.
Okay.
I'm sorry that happened, Owen. Good luck. Let us know how the interview goes, okay?
Sure, thanks. Have a good day.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this next comment made me laugh. Valamessa says, we need to have a Netflix reality show. These stories are original, and he likes the way I answered the question, so that's great. The stories are fascinating. That both these last 2 calls have been pretty darn interesting, and people have interesting lives. And as I've mentioned before, I've been an immigration lawyer for 15 years, and I still hear things that I've never heard before. That's why I enjoy doing the show. I get to hear from people. I get to learn from people. I get to spread some knowledge, drop some knowledge, like they say in Hamilton. And yeah, definitely. If everyone watching, so we have 213 people watching right now. If 10% of you left us a comment or left us a 5-star review today, that would be a big help. So if you could take 60 seconds, hop on over to reviewhackinglaw.com and leave us a review. We'd really appreciate it. That would be a lot of fun. If we got 20 reviews in one day, Google would probably yell at us, but it's still fun to put it up there. So let's see who can leave us a review. And I'll tell you what, anybody that leaves us a review, I will give you a shout out on the next show, which could be tomorrow or could be Thursday. I'm not sure exactly, because it all depends on the Norinators softball tournament. But if you could take a minute, go over to reviewhackinglaw.com, I'd appreciate it. We got about 10 minutes left. I'm going to answer some questions, and we'll go from there. And then I'm going over to Nor's first game of the tournament. Looks like the Holy Queen is back. Hopefully she's got her audio going. How you doing?
Good, Mr. Jim. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Wow. Thank you for picking my call.
Sure. What can I help you with?
Yeah, so I got married last year, September. So in November, I filed the I-130. So I'm still waiting for that. It's been 7 months now. So the first question, so how long do you think I have to wait?
Is this an I-130 for an overseas case or
yes,
a case in
no, overseas?
So I don't know if you were listening, but two people ago, or maybe 3 people ago, they said that they were waiting. 2 people ago, they were waiting 11 months. Their case was at USCIS for 11 months. So I would say somewhere between 10 and 14 months, hopefully. Their stated processing times are 2 years, but we're not really seeing them take 2 years on I-130. So probably around a year, give or take a few months.
Mm-hmm. So while waiting, what evidence can we gather so that when the case is approved, we'll be ready?
That's a great question, and I should make a TikTok about that, and I should do a video about that. That's really good, Huli. Leave me a note. So what evidence gather after we file. Sorry, my computer jumped out there. After we file the I-130, what should we file or what should we gather? So any trips to see each other, any texts back and forth to see each other, or any text that you send back and forth. And, you know, if you start taking screenshots now and just putting them into a folder, you want to have a sample over time. So I would say a couple times a week, just take a few screenshots of chats. Obviously, don't put anything inappropriate in there, and just have a little folder. You're going to want to have that. If you send money or gifts to each other, that kind of stuff, any kind of letters or anything, any joint accounts that you can open together, anything like, I know it's hard when you live apart to do that.
Yeah.
But really at this stage, they just want to make sure that the relationship is ongoing. They're not looking for tons and tons of, you know, marital evidence as far as commingling funds.
Yes.
Like they'll expect once you're here.
Okay. So we have this big evidence, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to submit that when the times come. So when I got there to get married, his family sent me the flight ticket. Could that be a good evidence?
Sure. But you should have submitted that. You didn't submit that already? That should have been submitted with the initial I-130, right?
No, they don't ask for that.
Yeah, but you still have to send evidence of the marriage. That would have been good to send.
Oh, to send.
But it's okay.
So I was thinking that I can include that when the case is sent to NVC. Or...
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, good luck. Keep us posted.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jim.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye. All right. Alex had a question in the chat. How long a wait time before suing USCIS before the interview of the N-400? Is it the same as after the interview? So the law says that if you've had your interview and 120 days have gone by, that you can sue them for, if you've had your interview and 120 days have gone by, you can go into federal court and ask the judge to naturalize you. That rule doesn't apply from the start date. The clock starts when you actually have your interview. So now they wait to schedule the interview. We take a rule of thumb that if your N-400 has been pending for 14 to 18 months and you want to sue them, if you sue them, you'll probably get an interview pretty quickly. So I would say sometime around a year and a half if your N-400 is still pending, unless you live in someplace really, really, really busy like Seattle or New York or San Francisco. If it's other than those places, I would say, 14 to 18 months, 12 to 18 months even. But that's generally, Alex, when you're going to want to sue. All right, so we got time for one or two more. Let's say hi to Aisha. Hi, Aisha.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Okay, quick question. We had the interview May 17th. So after May 17th, they said they were waiting on his medical and a copy of the divorce decree, okay?
Yeah.
After all of that was sent in. On the UCIS status, it says issued now as of June 21st. We received an email from them saying to come to the document center to pick up your information. He went to the document center to pick up his information, but instead of the visa, it was a DS 5535 form, supplemental question. Right, supplemental questions. Well, I'm sorry, it's for him and his 7-year-old. So now when we check it, his still says issued, but his son says refused. I don't understand. How is it issued if they're picking that up?
So did they give him back his passport or no?
No, they took the passport back with the supplemental questions form.
So here's what I would say. I would say that the fact that your husband's case says issued and the child says refused is proof of a point that I make all the time, which is what it says on the online portal doesn't matter because it's usually wrong. So, and here it's clearly wrong because they're not done processing either case. One says issued, one says refused. That just shows you how dumb they are. So the point is you've submitted your 5535 for each of them. You're just waiting. It sounds like they're getting close to making a decision, but I've seen cases where it said issued and someone gets a 5535 and it takes many months more. So you've got to just get in your mind that you're in it for the long haul, you're waiting for an actual visa, and that whatever they say on the online portal doesn't really matter until you actually have the visa for your husband and the child.
Okay, what does it ever go from issued to denied?
It goes from issued to refused. I've seen that before. Yeah. I mean, I think you're fine. I don't think you need to be worried. I think you just need to be pissed off that you're still waiting. That's all I'm saying. I think overall
Okay.
you're fine.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was it.
Oh, hey, which embassy?
Jamaica.
All right, Aisha. Well, good luck. Let us know how it goes, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, that was Aisha. She's had it. She's had it. She thought they thought they were going to get the visa, and they got that damn DS5535. I hate that thing. That DS5535. They should just get rid of it. It's total BS. They have all that information anyway, and whatever they don't have, they don't need. All right, so we're getting ready to wrap. I'm going to do one more call. And before I do, I just want to remind you, I don't know what time the show is going to be next. It might be tomorrow. It's probably going to be on Thursday, but it all depends how the team does. So I will do 4 shows this week. This is show number 2, so I'll probably do one on Friday, or we'll see. But I'll try to do one tomorrow, but it might be on Thursday. So if you want to know when the next show is, this is a good time to get on our text list. You can text the word show to 314-470-3300. I'm going to take one more call, and that's going to be with Brenda. Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
Are you a cat?
No, I think it's a panda.
A panda. Okay. All right. My daughter says there's girls in her school that call themselves furries, and they walk around school with a tail making noises, animal noises.
That is true. That is a trend.
Really? Okay. All right.
Skincare, you know. So I'm a green card holder, and I think I'm about to hit the year in December or something. I got hired for a cruise line that is like departing on September and coming back in March, but it stops in San Diego. So like every stop, I do come back to the States. Is that going to be a problem with the you can't be out for more than 6 months kind of rule?
You mean it's going to be out? Is it between September and March? Is it going to come back into the United States at all?
Yeah, a bunch of times.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do, Brenda. I'm really, really glad you called, okay? For two reasons. One is we want to make sure you don't lose your green card. That's number one. And number two, we want to make sure that when it comes time for you to apply for citizenship, that you're in good shape, okay?
Right. That I've been more than half of the time, right? That
in the United States. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what I want you to do, because this is going to get really hard if you don't do it from the beginning, okay? You need to get a Google Sheet. You need to start a Google Sheet, and you need to write down you need 4 things. When did you enter? What city did you enter? When did you leave? What city did you leave? And you need to keep track of that forever, right? Like I have this client, he's a piano player, he's amazing, and he spends most of his time outside the United States. He comes back, so as long as you're never outside for more than 6 months, your green card is fine, right? So if you're gone on a 7-day cruise and then you come back for 2, everything resets, so that part's fine. But it's going to be really, really hard to try to recreate this down the line. I had a client who was a pilot, and he never kept track of this stuff. It was impossible. And when you apply for citizenship, it's your obligation.
Okay. Yeah. I've kept track of, because I went home as soon as I got the green card because I hadn't been able to. And I have track of those days that I've been home. But that's it. I haven't, that's the only one I've had so far. I'm worried about signing this contract and having an issue later.
Not going to have any trips outside for more than 6 months. I think you're fine.
Okay, great. That's all I wanted to know.
Bye, Brenda. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. We'll see you. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That'll do it for today's show, which is good because it seems like my internet's going down the crapper. We'll be back tomorrow or Thursday. I will let you know. Get on that text list, and we'll fill you in. Send the word show to 314-470-3300, and I'll let you know. We'll do 2 more shows this week. Just don't know when. Peace out. Go St. Louis Impact. Thanks, Julio.